Hello to CEPD 4101 students. Welcome to Educational Psychology. I understand you are going to be using one of my textbooks. Let me tell you a little bit about what Psych is. Essentially, it's taking those pieces of psychology and pulling them together in a way that is helpful to teachers and indirectly to students as well. So for example, it takes what we know about thinking, or what we call cognition, and learning and memory, and helps us understand how we can better plan and design instruction so that children and adolescents learn and remember effectively those things that are really going to be most important for them for their lifelong success. Psych also includes the area of child development, which we're looking not only at physical development and neurological development, that is, changes in the brain over time and with age, but also we're looking at changes in how kids think, changes in how they feel, and not only about academic topics, but also about their peers, the adults around them, including their teachers, just their environment in general. Another important piece of educational psychology is motivation. What kinds of things motivate people in general and kids in particular? One of the things I often hear teachers and sometimes parents and the general public say is, well, these kids just aren't motivated. They just don't want to do anything in class. Well, the fact is, all human beings are motivated, including children. The trick is to have what motivates them be consistent with what teachers need for them to accomplish in the classroom. And that's actually not too difficult if we to make those things match and mesh if we simply think about what it is that is motivating children. Another important piece of educational psychology is the field of individual differences, how people differ as well as the ways in which they're same. So, for example, we'll be looking at personality. We'll be looking at cognitive abilities and differences there, and also, in some cases, disabilities. One final piece that psychology contributes to education is the whole field of assessment, how we actually measure what it is that people can do, and in this case, what kids and adolescents can do. So we take these pieces of psychology and we apply them then to classroom practices, to planning curriculum, to delivering instruction, to managing a classroom, creating an environment where kids can learn effectively and feel safe and comfortable, and in general thrive, and also how we can assess what it is that kids have learned. The traditional view of assessment is testing. That's just one of many, many ways that we can assess what kids are doing. Tests, when done right, can be very effective, not only because we get better measures of what kids can do, but also because ultimately how we assess kids and what we assess influences what they ultimately learn. Now, the other thing to know about Psych as a field is that it's based on solid research. And increasingly, policymakers and educators are calling for what they call evidence-based practice or research-based practice in the classroom. And that's what Psych brings to the table as a field. It tells us what works and what does not what has been shown time and time again to actually be effective in helping kids learn and be successful, not only academically, but also personally and socially. So, one more thing to keep in mind is that Psych won't just help you as a teacher, but I think will also help you as a learner yourself. You will probably learn quite a bit about how you learn and how you don't learn, and you're likely to discover that you may have had some misconceptions over the years about how you can best learn and study. Common misconceptions I've run across in my own students are, first of all, that, gee, if I just look at a textbook, even though I'm thinking about something altogether different, somehow those words will sink in and I'll be able to remember them at test time. Well, not true. You've got to be actively thinking about what you're reading. Another common misconception is that the best way to learn and remember something is to memorize it word for word. Again, absolutely not true. If you really want it to stick and to be useful for you, then what you need to do really is to think about what this information you're learning means, what implications it has, how can you use it? Can you use it to solve problems? Is it relevant to your own experiences? Can it help you understand something that's happened to you in the past? So learning really is all about actively thinking about your experiences, the content in your textbooks, and so on. So I am hoping this gets you off to a good start. So bon voyage as you proceed through the field, and I hope you get as much out of it as I have.